So, today we are starting a new chapter. I thought it will be the last part of chapter 3, but I decided to put a chapter 4. There will be 6 chapters in this class, so we are at chapter 4. And chapter 4 will be about trees and tableaux. Chapter 5 will be about connection with orthogonal polynomial, and chapter 6, extension and two kind of particle PASEP, etc. So trees and tableaux. So first, the relationship between TASEP and Catalan alternative tableau. So it's a special case. TASEP is a special case of the PASEP. TASEP for totally asymmetric exclusion process. There is 2 parameters, alpha and beta, the probability to get in and to get out. So it's a particular case of what we have seen in chapter 3 about the PASEP with 3 parameters. And this case is Q equals 0. So we go from permutation to the Catalan garden. So I just remind you that the PASEP was interpreted, this quadratic algebra, the Q tableau were exactly the alternative tableau with blue, red, and this cell yellow, which counts the Q analog for the Q parameters. There was 3 parameters, I, J, and K, and every word can be expressed as a unique way like this. And the alternative tableau, I just remind you, it's a Ferrer diagram, extended Ferrer with some color. Some cells are blue, some cells are red. There is nobody at the left of the blue. There is nobody below a red. And the cells which are not blue, not red, and which have not been crossed by a blue line or a red line are this cell in yellow. So we have seen that this number of cells is exactly correspond to the Q analog, the Q parameter in the PASEP. So if I put Q equals 0, I get this TASEP algebra, D equals D plus E, this is a matrix on that. And in that case, the alternative tableau are going to become Catalan alternative tableau. So in that case, the stationary probability for the TASEP is exactly the same, but with Q equals 0. So you just delete the Q here. And the interpretation is with Catalan alternative tableau. So Catalan alternative tableau is a tableau where every cell is blue or red, or at the left of a blue or below a red. And why I call this Catalan alternative tableau, we have seen this in the previous lecture, it's because it's counted by Catalan numbers. So I will give a proof of this by 2 bijection between binary tree and pair of paths. So corollary of all this, it's the stationary probability for the TASEP is a sum over all this monomial, alpha and beta. Usually it's the inverse of the probability, and it's a summation over the Catalan alternative tableau, where the 2 indices, number of rows without blue cell and number of columns without a red cell. People call this a free row and free column. So we are going to spend this lecture on this tableau and to give explicit expression, in that case, for the partition function. Right? So this is the most simple case. This was a seminal paper of the 4 physicists giving the matrix on that. They make explicit computation for this partition function and for the random mean occupy site inside the strip. So first, what is the characterization of an alternative Catalan tableau? So I claim I have the following characterization. Start from this Catalan alternative tableau, delete the blue cell, add a new row below this diagram, and then in this new row you put a red cell or a cell, a point. For each time there is a column above with no red cell. See here, look each column. Here there is a red cell of the original tableau. There is one, there is one, there is one. Here there is no red cell in this column, so I put a new point. We have seen this already in some previous lecture. So you just delete the blue cell, add a new row, and you just mark in this new row each column where there was no red cell. So I claim that this is a bijection. You can reconstruct the tableau, and I claim that the characterization of this tableau is exactly what is called Catalan permutation tableau. So what is a Catalan permutation tableau? I remind you the definition. A Catalan permutation tableau is a tableau with a Ferrer diagram, where there is some cell with a point, some cell empty cell. Usually people working in permutation tableaus, they put 0 and 1, and satisfying these two conditions. First condition, there is at least one point in each column. Second condition, this pattern is forbidden. So this is permutation tableau. They are counted by n factorial. And Catalan permutation tableau, there is another condition. I have no time this morning to write the condition, but the condition is that in each column, there is only one black point. See, the permutation tableau, there is maybe several black points, at least one, but Catalan means there is only one. All the other, if there is more than one, the other black points are called superfluous. You don't need them to get Catalan tableau. And in fact, the superfluous one, which are in more than one, it's going to be related to the Q analog, the Q parameter. So here Q equals 0, there is only one black point in each column. So this is the case, you see. Of course, there is only one red point here in each column, because from the original tableau, there is only one red point in each column, and because if there is no red point, I have added here, so I have one and only one red point in each column, and now you have to show that it satisfies this condition. So I don't give many exercises since a long time, so exercise, give a correct, convince yourself, give a proof that the tableau is going to be Catalan alternative tableau, if and only if what you get here is exactly a Catalan permutation tableau, satisfying so condition 1, 2, 3. You can do the same with the blue. The blue point, you delete the red point, add a new column on the left, and put a blue point in each row where there is no blue point in the original tableau. So again, you get a Catalan permutation, Catalan tableau, and this is a characterization. So I just give you a hint of the exercise. Some example, if you take this tableau, and you add a new, this tableau is going to be a Catalan permutation tableau, and to get back the blue point, I have deleted the blue point, you don't see that, but to get back the blue point, in each, you first write this red, first I have deleted the first row. Then for each red point, you look below, you put this red line, and now you look the row, now you are going to put the blue point, one blue point in each row, at most one blue point, and so here I am going to put one blue point. So because it must be Catalan alternative tableau, so every cell must be blue or red, or crossed by a red line or blue line, so you cannot put a blue here, because this cell will remain empty, so you have to put the blue here. So in each row, you put the blue at the rightmost position. If maybe it's not possible, so there will be no blue point, but if there is some empty cell, you put it at the rightmost position, which gives you this. And then you get a Catalan alternative tableau. I can do the same with the blue point. I add this with the blue point. If I know only the blue point, then by putting a red point on the topmost empty cell in each column, if there is some empty cell, you get back the alternative tableau. So why it is called Catalan alternative tableau? Because there is a bijection. There is two bijections between the Catalan alternative tableau and I will, for the TASEP, for the computation of the probability, everything, I will need two bijections, one with binary tree and one with a pair of paths. So here is a classical Catalan tableau. So if you don't know too much about enumerative combinatorics, so I just remind you of some elementary things about binary tree and pair of paths. So this is a binary tree. Yes? Yes, this. So I will show two bijections. One between Catalan alternative tableau and binary tree, and one between Catalan alternative tableau and pair of paths. I will show two bijections. But first, I just recall some elementary fact about binary tree, pair of paths, the Catalan garden that I have explained 2 years ago at the first part of this series of lecture. So I just remind what is, for elementary, if people are starting at the elementary level, just remind you what is a binary tree. And a binary tree is a triple. Sometimes I put the tree going up, sometimes going down. It depends, because it's a mixture of many transparencies. In computer science, they put always the trees going down. Many combinatorics paper put it going up. So you have to be used to use a French or British notation for Ferrier diagram, or even some more mirror image of this notation. So let's take a binary tree. So what is binary tree? There is a root here, and then it's defined recursively as a triple, a left binary tree, a right binary tree, and B may be empty tree. It's only one tree on the empty set. So L and R are called the left subtree and right subtree. So it's a recursive definition. In computer science, we are very used to such definition. Maybe for a pure mathematician, it's for Bourbakis mathematicians, they don't like this definition. But now it's very well classical definition. So recursively, if this binary tree is this triple. I have to mention that the vertices are finite set. Of course, this recursive definition, you can go infinity, but you have to stop somewhere. So this binary tree is, there is a finite number of vertices. Total number of vertices of the tree is total number of vertices on the left, plus the root, plus total number of vertices on the right. So this is a recursive definition, left subtree, right subtree, and then you repeat it. This tree is this tree single vertex is this. So recursively, say you go down in the tree, each time you have a triple, and at the end you stop by having this triple, empty tree, empty tree. So from this recursive definition, it's easy to enumerate the number of binary tree with n vertices. It is very well known that this is a Catalan number. If you know what is a generating function, the formal sum of all this number, the generating function is going to satisfy this quadratic algebraic equation. So more detail in the course chapter 1 and chapter 2 of the bijective combinatorics course 2 years ago. So I just remind you some transparencies of this course. So usually Catalan number, from the definition of binary tree, any binary tree can be defined by a pair, a left subtree, a right subtree. Total number of vertices of these two trees is n, and n plus 1 because you have to add the root. So it's very classical, this recurrence relation, starting with C0 equal 1. And it's, if you know what is a generating function, it's very classical that this recurrence relation on Catalan number is equivalent to this algebraic equation. But this is old-fashioned combinatorics. Now we don't do anymore. We don't need recurrence relation to really understand what is binary tree. So you can go directly from the definition of binary tree, you can go directly to the algebraic equation. So binary tree, what is binary tree? Is equal to the roots plus a triple. And this identity makes sense. You can define the product, the sum, the derivative, integral of combinatorial objects. Go back to the class 2 years ago. So from this identity, at the level of combinatorial object, you just project it on the level of a generating function. So this identity is binary tree equals this plus the triple of binary tree multiplied by root multiplied by binary tree. And this makes sense. I don't explain but formally it makes sense. And then you project it at the analytic level, and you get this. Y equal, because I'm counting binary tree by number of vertices, internal vertices, so this counts for, yes, in fact, this equation should be the complete binary tree. I'm a little confused. I go too fast, but you understand. From this, you get this algebraic equation. From this algebraic equation, as in the college or school, you plus or minus the square root of this. It's an equation of degree 2, so you have to put minus. If you put plus, it should not be a generating function. Then you expand it by classical binomial coefficient. But m is 1 over 2, so instead of a polynomial, you get infinite power series. You replace m by 1 over 2, u by minus 40, and you get immediately this. So at the beginning, we start with combinatorial level, and then we lost in expansion of the iterating function, we lose something of the combinatorics. So exercise, if you want to be purist, fanatic of bijection and bijective combinatorics with not at all any calculus, give a proof, bijective proof of this identity. And this identity fit very well with binary tree. The interpretation of Catalan number with binary tree, you can get easily this proof. Here you have a binary tree. Here you have to do something in two different ways. You multiply, you have to point something, and then you get a binary tree of one more vertices. And this recurrence relation, if you apply recursively, you get the formula for Catalan number. It's equivalent to the formula for Catalan number. So this is pure bijective proof, and maybe you can, the interest is that you can really understand better what is, one practical interest is that if you take by random a binary tree, take by random a number here, by random between 1 and 2, then you get a random binary tree. So your bijection will produce, in very efficient way, random binary tree of 10 or 100,000 vertices. As soon as you know how to get a random numbers between 1 and k for every k. So you see, bijective proof can be very efficient for algorithmic purpose. This is one of the interests of, and to understand better what is a binary tree. So binary tree is a left subtree, a right subtree, and if you go down, then for any vertex, below there is a subtree. It's a recursive definition of subtree. This is a unique path going from the root of the tree to the vertex S. And there will be in binary tree, there is 4 kinds of vertices. A vertex maybe is a double vertex, maybe a simple vertex with only one left son, only or daughter, only one right son or daughter, and the leaf there is no son at all, no descendant. So there's 4 kinds of vertices in a general binary tree, and a complete binary tree where there is only double vertex or leaves. If there is no simple vertex, you get a complete binary tree. So sometimes people call binary tree this complete binary tree, because there is a very easy bijection between binary tree with n vertices and complete binary tree with 2n plus 1 vertices. This is very classical bijection. Take a binary tree, and then you just extend it. We call this external edges. And sometimes people call the black vertex the internal vertex, and the red vertex the external vertex. So if you have n internal vertex, you have n plus 1 external vertex. This is 2n plus 1. And if you remember what you have to prove in the exercise, 2 times 2n plus 1 Catalan. So you have to start with a complete binary tree, Catalan number. 2n plus 1 means you are pointing one of the vertex, internal or external. And 2 means you are going to do something to increase the binary tree in 2 different ways. What you get at the end is another binary tree, complete binary tree with one more internal vertex. And what remains is n plus 2 on the right-hand side of your identity. N plus 2 is what? Is the number of leaves of the new binary tree with n plus 1 internal vertex and n plus 2 leaves. So you just imagine in 5 minutes you get the bijection. You just have to do something in 2 different ways. And 2 mean left or right or, okay. I have given enough hint. So I will need, in the bijection with Catalan alternative tableau, I will need the height. But this is very classical notion, the height of a vertex. So any vertex, you have a unique path from the roots and the number of edges you are using to go from R to S. And this path have some left or right edges, so I will call the left height or the right height of the vertex, number of edges on the left, or number of edges on the right that you need to go from the root until S. And of course, the height of the vertex is the sum of the left height and right height. So I will need also this very classical notion for the TASEP. It's going to be useful in the TASEP. the left principal branch of the tree. When you start from the roots, you go always on the left until the maximum possible. So it's a maximal sequence of left edges starting from the root. So I will need the parameter, the length of the number of edges of this left principal branch, and this is the right principal branch. In general, principal branch, if you start from any vertex, then you can go on the left or go on the right. But this is the principal branch because you start from the root. We'll need also to follow the vertices of a tree in a certain order. So there is some two principal order I will need. The transversal of a follow a traversal of a binary tree. There is two kinds. Pre-order. Pre-order means first, it's a recursive procedure, recursive algorithm to meet each one in every vertex once. So first you visit the root, if the tree is not empty. Then you visit the left subtree, recursively by the same algorithm, and then you visit the right subtree. So for example, pre-order in this, first you visit the root, so you put a 1, then the left subtree recursively, so you will put a 2, etc. So you see, then the left subtree, then I have finished the left subtree in the root, so I go to the right subtree. When I finish all this, 2, 3, 4, 5, I have finished the root, so I go to the right subtree of this, then the root, then the left subtree. Right subtree is empty, so this is the total order of the vertices of a binary tree, which is called pre-order. I will use the second order, the symmetric order, or in order. So first you visit the left subtree, then you visit the root, and then you visit the right subtree. So this is this in order, symmetric order. So I have a tree defined recursively. So first I visit the left subtree. So I remember in computer science you will put a stack of all the vertex we are waiting to be visited. So in the stack I put the root, then I will put the second vertex, and then I visit the left subtree. The left subtree is reduced, so I put a 1. Now I go back to the root, I put a 2. The stack will be, and then I go to the right subtree, etc. So you can imagine it's very classical in computer science. This algorithm visiting a binary tree in symmetric order or in order. The third order will be post order, where you visit first the right, then the left, then the root, but I will only use these two orders. So this is only the classical term I need for my Catalan alternative tableau and going back to the relationship between tableau and binary tree. The second interpretation of Catalan number I will need in this relationship between tableau and trees is tableau and pair of paths. So what is a pair of paths? It's two paths starting from this corner with east or south elementary step going to this corner. They don't intersect except at the extreme point. So this means, in fact, it's two Ferrer diagrams, the blue one and the red one, and one Ferrer, this one is embedded, is less than this Ferrer in the Young lattice. This Ferrer diagram below the blue path is a subset, is included in this Ferrer diagram with the red path. So this is very classical also, interpretation of Catalan number. So I will need the bijection between, there is a classical bijection, between binary tree and pair of paths. So take a binary tree, you complete the binary tree with external edges. So there is n vertices, now there is two n plus 1 vertices. And in the external edges, I have added to the previous form a binary tree. There is two kinds of edges. In red, edges going to the left. In blue, edges going to the right. I am repeated myself, but as it's independent of the lecture I gave on Maole, so I repeat the definition. And the definition is of the canopy. The canopy of the binary tree is a word of length n minus 1 in two letters. The letter is if you go left or if you go right. When you read the binary tree, the external edges from left to right. So that means you read the external edges in symmetric order. So for example, you have red, red, then blue, blue, And I can encode this by a path like this. Red, red, east, going east, east. Then blue, blue goes north, north, etc. So this path has length n-1, because I am not going to consider these left edges and these right edges here. Because, of course, this one is going to the left. The last one in symmetric order is going to the right. So I don't need to put them in the canopy, because total number of external edges is n+1. Deleting these two extremal edges, I have n-1 edges. I have a word of length n-1. I have a path of length n-1. And this notion has been defined by Lode and Ronco when they introduced the Hopf algebra of binary tree. So in this chapter, I will talk about the Lode-Ronco Hopf algebra and show that you can translate this in Catalan alternative tableau very easily. And it's become obvious, the product of two binary trees. So in their paper, Lode-Ronco did not define the canopy, but they use it. So I propose to have this name, canopy. Many people like this because canopy, you know, it's going above a tree. You look at the tree from above, and there's so many words about the shape, the profile, many things of binary tree. So this word was not used. Canopy of a binary tree, and this path is going. In fact, I can rewrite the path as the border of Ferrer diagram. See, what I have done is just a mirror image. Sometimes I write this path like this in some slides. Sometimes I just make the mirror image like this. And this path now becomes the border of a Ferrer diagram. Extended Ferrer, this column is empty. So see the connection. When you have red edges going left, left, then in the border of the Ferrer you go east, east, then go south, south. If you have a blue, blue edges, red, red, blue, blue, red. So you can define any binary tree. There is a Ferrer diagram associated to it. And there is this path, the border, northeast border of the Ferrer. And this is my first path. I mean, in the bijection between binary tree and a pair UV of two paths, this is V. The first path will be the canopy of the binary tree. Now I have to define the second path. It's going to be a path which is inside, which is below this path of the border of the Ferrer. So it's a second Ferrer which is included in the first one. So there is different way, 3 or 4 or 5 different ways to define this path. So this is one of the possible ways. So first you go back to your binary tree. You distinguish the left edges. The first binary tree I take, not the complete binary tree, the first one of the beginning. You distinguish the blue edges going to the left, red edges going to the right. You write you order the vertices by symmetric order. So this is the first, you don't see, this is the first vertices, symmetric order. Then this is the second one, the third one, etc. 4, 5. So this is the labeling of this binary tree by symmetric order. Now you consider the left edges in blue. So each of these edges start from a certain vertex. This one, for example. So you have this vertex 4, you have this vertex 1, this vertex is 5, and this vertex, I cannot read it, is 8. So what you do is I'm going to give a total order on the blue edges, which is the symmetric order induced by the starting point of the left edges. See, I have four vertices, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So these 4 vertices, I take the induced symmetric order, and this gives me an order on the blue edges. So the order is here. This is the first one, A. Second blue edges, B. The third blue edge is C, and then the last one, D. So it's just the induced symmetric order of the vertices of the starting of the edges. So this gives me A, B, C, D, a certain order on blue. And now I am going to define this number, yellow number 1, 1, 2, 0. So to each blue edges, to each edges going to the left, I just log the path starting from the root and going to these edges. So it's go to this 2 point here. And I'm counting the number of right edges in this path, which means for both these vertices, I'm counting the right height of these vertices. So 2 vertices of the edges have the same right height. Number of edges going to the right when you follow the path from the root to these edges. So here the right edges is 1, because there is only one red edges when you follow this path. For this edges C, right edge is 2. Just look, this edge is C. Starting from the root, you go left, right, right. So the right height is 2. So for C, I have a yellow number 2. So this gives me a vector of numbers 1, 1, 2, 0. For each blue edges, I have this yellow number. And this is going to give me the second path. So the second path is the following. This number 1, 1, 2, 0. This corresponds to these left edges. These left edges, remember in the canopy, this left edges is going, maybe you have to prove this. This left edge is going to correspond to these edges here, A, B, C, and D. The blue edges are going to correspond exactly to the vertical edges of this external path in this order. This is A, this is B, this is C, and this is D. And the red edges, there is 5 red edges, is going to correspond to these horizontal edges. You have to check this, and the order in which you read this horizontal edges is going to be exactly the order induced by the order I gave on the left edges, and I can give also an order on the right edges. But in my case, with blue edges, A, B, C, D, you have A, B, C, D. My yellow number here becomes the blue number. So to A, I associate 1. To this edges B, I associate 1. This edges G, I associate 2. This edges D, I associate 0. And now the yellow path, it's between these edges in relation with A. You put a vertical edges at a distance 1 from the border. Here you put also vertical edges at a distance 1. Here at distance 2. And here at distance 0. So this left height, corresponding to ABCD, is going to be in the same order. ABCD going from the top to the bottom. It's exactly the distance between the border and the path inside. And I claim this is, you have to check this is combinatorics deep inside the trees and the relation with canopy. I claim that what you get, putting these vertical edges in yellow at the distance given by number 1, 1, 2, 0, in the order A, B, C, D, going from bottom to top, from top to bottom. I claim that you get a path. You get exactly, you can connect these vertical edges by some horizontal step. For example, these vertical edges cannot be here. You cannot have D at a distance 3. This number here cannot be 3. So here it's a combinatorial lemma that what you get is a path going south or east. To show that this is a bijection between binary tree and pair of paths, I can construct the reverse bijection. So sorry, again I changed notation. I go to the French. The path was, here the path was below, the yellow path was below this path, written like this. And I changed notation coming from another paper. So I take this path. This is a canopy of the binary tree. And this is yellow path. It's going to be given by, yellow path is given by the vertical edges in the order A, B, C, and D. And the distance, you see, between these two edges is 1. Distance is 1. Distance here is 2. And distance is 0. So I have just make a mirror image. Sorry for the change of. So my pair of paths can be, in fact, completely encoded by only one path and with the yellow numbers corresponding to the edges A, B, C, D. I have some yellow numbers, which is the distance of the yellow path to these vertical edges. And now I'm going to give an algorithm called the push gliding algorithm. The idea is this is going to be the root of the path, the root of the binary tree. Here you have your pair of paths encoded in a single path with some yellow number of it. And then I have to construct a binary tree. This is going to be the root of the binary tree. The binary tree, left and right edges will be vertical and horizontal edges. And these edges must be at the distance, the right height of these edges must be 1. So this edge should be at the distance 1 of this vertical line. Imagine a vertical line starting from the origin. This is going to be the root of the binary tree. And these edges should be at distance 1. So I should move these edges. So the algorithm is, suppose you are moving these edges to be at distance 1 of this red point. And in moving this, you think that all this is solid part of the path, and everybody move. So there's a gliding, you see, you glide like this. Now, once I have make this gliding of the portion, then the algorithm is push gliding. Push, I am going to push this, so that is going like this. You push it like this. So again, this part of the path, this is solid part of the path, and pushing it, you see, it's push means that this part is going to be glued with this part, and all this is going to go down. And here you see the part of the binary tree is beginning to appear. My binary tree, so it's a mixture of below it's going to be binary tree, and there is a tail, there is a remaining part of the path. So this edges should be at distance 1 of this vertical line. It's already at distance 1, so I don't need to make gliding. I have just to push, and I do this. So this is going to be part of the binary tree, and this is the remaining part of the path. Now this edges has to be at distance 2, so I am going to glide it like this. And now I push to get... and you get this. This one should be at distance 0. So you glide it, and now you push. But pushing this means, in fact, nothing is going to change except that the red point is going to be here. This was the root of the growing tree. This was a part of the path, but pushing D make exactly the same thing, and you get the root of the tree, and you get a binary tree. So now the binary tree is at the head going down, with the left and right edges going to be edges going down, edges going east. And you can see you have your 4 edges in A, B, C, D, totally ordered in symmetric order. And A, you see this number 1, 1, 0, and 2 is exactly the number of east edges you meet when you start from the root, going to the vertices of the edges. So the right height of this edges is 1. 1, this is 2, because if you start from the root, you have 2. And so you get, I claim that doing this, you get exactly the reverse of the previous bijection. Previous bijection was from this binary tree, I was associating this pair of paths, where the distance between the yellow path and the green path is given by the right height of the edges. And these two bijections reverse each other, reciprocal each other, and this is, if you can convince yourself that this is the proof that this is the bijection. So there is many other ways to define this bijection. Yes, question?
Can you go back to the slide where you had the canopy?
With the canopy, yes. Here. This one, so when I put the path like this, so this is the canopy, you see? And this is the path associated in the notation, in French notation. Sorry for the mixture of notation. This is the path mirror image, and then this is the path in the east, another notation where instead of left and right edges, I have east and north edges. So I claim that these two algorithms are inverse each other. I claim that this gives me a bijection. So this bijection you can find, it's written in a paper in Transaction of the American Mathematical Society, with a paper with Louis-François Préville-Rattel, where we extend the Tamari lattice. This is related to the Tamari lattice, but this is one way. What we want to do with the Tamari extension of Tamari lattice, this bijection fit very well with what we were planning to do. There is also a definition of this bijection. If I have time, I will give you. 30 years ago, this bijection was already given by another paper, but this is a certain way which fit very well with our Catalan alternative tableau. So we have this. So now we have a binary tree, we have pair of paths, we have defined two bijections between these two, and now let's go back to Catalan alternative tableau. So I will prove that they are really counted by Catalan number by giving two bijections, one with binary tree and one with pair of paths. Why to give two bijections? Is because for the TASEP, we need both. We need sometimes binary tree to get explicit expression of the partition function, and sometimes we need pair of paths to do some other computation. So bijection, Catalan alternative tableau, binary tree. So here is a Catalan alternative tableau. You can check that this is a Catalan alternative tableau. And first part of the algorithm, you had like in the slide showing the characterization of a binary tree. Sometimes we extend the blue point in the first row. Sometimes we extend the red point. Here I extend both row and column. I put a blue point in each row where there is no blue point. I put a red point where in each row there is no red point. And then to make more beautiful the picture, I put a brown point, which is going to be the root of my binary tree. Now the construction, the definition is the following. Each blue point, you are going to put an green edges starting from the blue point, and these green edges maybe is going to hit another blue point. Or you continue from this blue point a green edges until it meet, maybe it's meet a red point. So you stop. If you don't meet from a blue point, if you don't meet anybody, maybe if there was not this red point, then the blue point you go until this row. But if you don't meet going down from a blue point, if you don't meet any red point, then you will meet of course, you will meet a red point here. Because I have added in this row, if there was no red point in the column, I have added a red point. So I am sure that going down with the blue point, else I will hit a red point, or else I will go until the first row meeting a red point. Now for the red point, the rule is reverse. We go to the left. From a red point, put an edges going to the left. So here, put an edges going to the left. I am sure that I will meet a point in this first column. And then if you continue, then everybody, you will meet the root. So here is a binary tree. See, here is a binary tree underlying the Catalan alternative tableau. And this is extended binary tree. And I claim that this is a bijection between Catalan alternative tableau and binary tree or complete binary tree. You can do this for any alternative tableau. You will get also a binary tree, but the branches, the green branches, maybe intersect. And if they intersect, then this corresponds to a yellow cell to the Q analog. So this kind of tree which intersect will be counted by n factorial. And the tree where they don't intersect, you get underlying binary tree. In fact, I will in another chapter of this, as a part of this chapter, if you just take just consider the point of the extended alternative tableau. Forget the color. So you get what is called a tree-like tableau, and just knowing the point, you can reconstruct the tree. And this is called a non-ambiguous tree. It's a set of points such that each point, there is a point on the left, or maybe there is a point below, but you cannot have both at the same time. So you can reconstruct a tree and until going to the root. And this is called non-ambiguous because there is only one way to reconstruct the tree. Knowing the point, you get the tree. So it's very interesting combinatorics also. There is some beautiful formula for this non-ambiguous tree. I will maybe, if I have time, in other part of this chapter. So I claim this is a bijection. If you have a binary tree, you can reconstruct the Catalan alternative tableau. So there is a different way to reconstruct. One way, in fact, is also to go to pair of paths or to give a second bijection between Catalan alternative tableau and binary tree. So you can describe this bijection. I just show this bijection in a second different way. So start from a alternative tableau, not extended, Catalan alternative tableau with no extension. Rotate it 45 degrees. So I take the Russian notation for a Young tableau or binary or Carrère diagram, and look the border of this. So this is a canopy, in fact, of the corresponds to the canopy of the binary tree. Now choose any of these corners. So there is two corners here. And I am going to do an analog and a kind of jeu de taquin. The sliding, the algorithm does not depend on the choice. It will be the same. So choose this corner. And then this column is totally empty, except the red point. I am going to, this column is becoming empty. So I'm going to slide, you see. This part of these blue edges here is going to go along this one just to suppress this column written 45 degrees rotated. So imagine that you squeeze this column in yellow. Imagine this part, this edge is going to slide along this with all this part here. And this gives you this. So again, you have the border, you have this path, plus new edges going outside. This is a binary tree is going to increase in the upper part of this path. Choose another like this one. So I choose the blue point. So I am going to squeeze, to compress completely this. This will be a row in the Catalan alternative tableau. And so there is going to be a slide again, like this. So you continue like this by taking one of the corners of this tableau, like this one, and then sliding again, you see. So each time this path reduced by one edges, and above the path, some growing part of trees are happening. So this is going to slide here. And you continue, so there is only one such vertex. And at the end, you get a binary tree here. And what remains here is, in fact, the left branch. See, the left branch and right branch of the binary tree is exactly what remains of the border of the Catalan alternative tableau. And I claim that this algorithm gives you exactly the same things as this algorithm. So we start from this, we rotate. This gives me this binary tree. This binary tree is here, and in the algorithm rotating and making the jeu de taquin, I get this binary tree. And you can see that this is the same as this one. It's not obvious to see that because here I have a Catalan alternative tableau. I don't add any row and column. I make my sliding push my jeu de taquin on a kind of jeu de taquin on the binary tree. I get this binary tree. And this binary tree is exactly the same as this one if you rotate. I will not prove, it's a kind of a homework exercise. Convince yourself that it's all this is, if you want to write formally all this, it's maybe complicated and long. So maybe I'm cheating. The beauty of magic of bijection, everything seems to be so easy, but if you go inside the hole, if you go inside the technology, then maybe you have a hard time to get a formal proof. So you have two bijection Catalan binary tree. So let's do the reverse bijection. The reverse bijection of the sliding and of the analog of Taquin, what I have done before. So I have my binary tree. In fact, I should write the left branch and right branch of the binary tree. And now I am going to go in a reverse way. I mean reverse way to do this. Everything is reversible. In the sliding you have done, I can completely reverse the process to really see that this is the algorithm of I showed before was exactly reversible, and you get back each time you create some blue and red points, you create new column, new row and your binary tree becomes completely flat. It becomes a path. See, so I can go from a path to a binary tree. And the coding of the movement is exactly an alternative Catalan tableau. In another section of this chapter, in a few weeks, because the next chapter will be orthogonal polynomial. So I will this week I will only give one part of chapter 4, and it will be complementary lecture when I will come back from Coimbatore in 4 weeks. So because it's complement, the chapter 5 will be orthogonal polynomial and relation. And so it's I lose the fil de ma pensée. So what? And so you get this completely you get this commutative diagram. Not yet, no, not yet. I have to complete this diagram by giving a bijection here. So, but before showing the second bijection, pair of paths Catalan alternative tableau, which is going to give a complete commutative diagram. Here we have shown, since the beginning of this lecture, we have shown the bijection, the reverse bijection. Here I have given a bijection, a reverse bijection, a second type of bijection. So before going here and get a complete commutative triangle, let's go back to the TASEP. And let's go back to the interpretation of TASEP with binary tree. So to go back to the TASEP, I claim that the map I define between Catalan alternative tableau with profile V, profile, I remind you, is the upper border of the Faraday diagram, and binary tree with canopy V, I have this bijection. What happened of the parameters which are useful for the TASEP, for the PASEP or TASEP, I have two parameters I and j, the number of rows without blue point, number of columns without red point. This parameter on the alternative tableau. In case of Catalan alternative tableau, I have just these two parameters which correspond to alpha and beta, and I and j, or sometimes called the number of free rows, number of free columns. And I claim that in this bijection between Catalan alternative tableau and binary tree, these two parameters I and j become exactly the length of the principal left branch and the length principal right branch. So I and j become exactly this. You can check on my example. I have this Catalan alternative tableau, the first bijection with extension of the tableau, then the second bijection with sliding. Look here, there is one blue point here on the first column. There is one red point on the second column. So there was one free row, there was one free column. And look, this binary tree, 1 and 1. One left edge is on the left principal left branch, and one right edge is the principal. So I have exactly this very nice correspondence. And so I can go back to the TASEP, and using the matrix on that, we have seen that the probability to get for a certain state, you have the strip with n elements. Physicists call this tau 1, tau 2, tau n, where tau n is 0 or 1. So this is a certain state of your strip. And the probability to get this state with parameter alpha beta is exactly 1 over the partition function. Partition function is the sum of all this. And this sum is probability alpha, inverse of alpha, you need. So the length of the LP of B is the length of the principal branch on the left, the length of the principal branch on the right. So this sum is over all binary tree with Geek canopy S. So it's a nice interpretation of the probability. You get a state of particle, empty or full, and the stationary probability is exactly the sum for all binary tree with fixed canopy and by the length left and right. And so I can, the partition function is going to be the sum of all this for all binary tree. I claim that this partition function can be explicitly written like this. You have an explicit expression. I'm going to prove it. That you have this binomial coefficient, this, and numerator. Alpha bar is the inverse of alpha. So you have this polynomial divided by this. And I give you a proof with the less possible calculus as possible, with more bijection as possible. So the partition function, what is the partition function? It's a sum, you have to sum over all binary tree of this parameter. And the partition function was, because to get probability, you have to divide by to get a 1. So it's the sum of all this over all possible canopy, so over all possible binary tree. I have this sum. And now suppose I have a binary tree with n plus 1 vertices. So to get this term here, to get this explanation, from where it comes? It comes from the following bijection, that this is a binary tree with the left branch. Here the left branch has length 4, the right branch has length 2, and I bijectively transform this into this. So you delete the root, put everybody on the right branches, and connect exactly these 4 trees here, connect them in the same order, connect these 3 here in the same order. So what you get a binary tree such that the right branch, some point, there is a sequence of red point, followed by a sequence of blue point. Maybe everybody is red, maybe everybody is blue, but in sequence, you begin with red, or maybe no red, and at one step, then you change, and you change the color, and you continue with blue. So I claim that such number is exactly given by this polynomial. This polynomial, which was here, see this part here, comes exactly from this bijection. So I just rewrite this like this, and there is a multiplication by this. So the partition function, you see, it's a generating function for binary tree with some coloring of the right branch. The coloring is going to give you this, and I have to know the length of the right branch. So counting binary tree by the length of the right branch. This is a very well-known parameter in the Catalan garden. It's what is called the Banach number. And if you go back to the class 2 years ago, I gave a proof of the Banach number. So Banach number usually is written with Dicke path or Banach path. So if you take a Dicke path, there is a bijection between binary tree and Dicke path. We met already Dicke path going northeast or southeast. This is called minimal path of the Banach problem. And the parameter of number of edges here is exactly the same parameter as number of steps here. And this is a well-known interpretation of Banach number, and there is a proof, classical proof, that this number, the distribution of binary tree by the length of the right branch is the same as the distribution of dict path by the final length of the sequence of edges, and this is given by this number. And so you can imagine combining all this, why this generating function appears. It's just coloring with this bijection, you see. So in the original paper, this formula appears in the original paper of this, the seminal paper about the matrix ansatz by these four people, Derrida, Evans, Hakim, and Pasquier. And so even you have more. You can get the generating function of the partition function. The generating function in classical paper of physics, they give an explicit expression of the generating function of the partition function, the TASEP. Why you have this formula is because of this. You see, you have to, this object, once you delete the root, it's in fact a sequence, 1 over 1 minus alpha bar, the generating function of a Catalan number. This is exactly a sequence of these red trees. Each red tree is it's weighted by the probability inverse of alpha. And the sequence of red trees, you see, with a shift by 1 of the, you have a shift by 1 here. It's going to be given by this, the sequence of object is 1 over 1 minus u, where u is a generating function for the object itself. The generating function of the object is this. And these two sequences here, this product, are independent. You can put some red, some blue, and get the product. So you have an interpretation of this formula, generating function of a partition function. And even you can make more. It's in the seminal paper of 93, Derrida, Evans, Hakim, Pasquier. So they start with the Q equals 0. They start with the TASEP. Most of the paper is always with the TASEP, matrix ansatz for the TASEP. They make all the computation by classical combinatorics. Computation is factorial, everything. So you don't see at all the trees, the explanation of the formula. But this was the first seminal paper. So this is the matrix ansatz for this. And in the paper, they give a complete proof of this regime, this phase transition for the TASEP. I give you this at the beginning of chapter 3, where there was a phase transition when, depending on alpha and beta, and the phase transition was when the average occupation numbers. If you have a very large strip, and you take the one cell in the middle, and take for a very strip, go to infinity, then the occupation number is going to be given by this diagram. There is explicit computation in the paper. So occupation number, you have a sequence. So the occupation number of average occupation number of this, the cell of number I. So before the cell I, there is I minus 1 cell. So which can be any monomial, any polynomial like this is D and E means occupy or empty. So all these cells, I don't know what they are. This cell number I there is a particle on it. So you put a D. And then now, we don't know what we have. So this computation, where you have this matrix ansatz multiplied by vector W and B, so this computation gives you exactly the average occupation number. So they make explicit computation in the same spirit I showed you before, with the Banach number, everything, factorial. So, and then going to the asymptotic, the limit, they get this diagram. So I'm not going to go further in the physics and the computation, but I just keep at the combinatorial level and to give you an idea of how they get this diagram. It's combinatorics plus asymptotic, some asymptotic computation. And then when you have the Q, they say everything can be extended with the Q. And so the diagram is a little change. When there is a Q, there is a modification. Okay, so now I am going to go to the second part of the relationship between TASEP and Catalan alternative tableau. If you remember, there was an interpretation. The first paper, combinatorial paper, was with Zalberger and Shapiro, and they gave an interpretation of the stationary probability for alpha equal beta equal 1 in terms of paths, of pair of paths. So I need the bijection to go back to prove the result. I need the bijection between Catalan alternative tableau and a pair of paths. So here is a Catalan alternative tableau, and I define these blue numbers. 1, 1, 2, 0. So how do I define? Forget that I appear already 1, 1, 2, 0 before. So in each row, I am going to put these blue numbers. This blue number is 0 if there is no blue point in the row. This blue number is, here is 2. It's because it's 1, there is a blue point, plus 1 plus the number of cells of this type. Number of cells where there is only a blue line crossing the cell. So this cell doesn't count. So it's number of cells which are at the left of a blue point and which are not below a red point. So see here I have one blue point, one blue point. One blue point will one of these cells give 2, and here 0. And then from this vector 1, 1, 2, 0, I am going to construct a path. There is a yellow path, such that the distance between these vertical edges is going to be the same analog of what I have done before, between binary tree and a pair of paths. The distance between these vertical edges of the yellow path and the border of the Ferré diagram is exactly the blue number. So here I have 1, 1, 2, and 0. In certain lemma, it's a certain lemma on a combinatorial lemma on Catalan alternative tableau, that what I get is a path going south or east. If I can connect the vertical edges by only step going to the east. Which means, for example, these two, this yellow, it cannot be here. It cannot be a 4 here. Because it was to have these vertical edges at this position, I should have a 4 here. To have a 4, I should have everything, the blue point should be here, with all these edges crossing here. But if you convince yourself that this is not possible with in this Catalan alternative tableau, because I've already started from this. See, when I started from this, then there is a red point here. Because distance is only 1. I have only 1. I put a 1 here, so there is a blue point. So which means here, this cell must not be empty, so it must be a red point here. Because a red point, I have a red line below, and so I cannot put a 4 here. Because I can put a 3. The best I can do is put a 3. If I put a 3, then I will have vertical edges here. This is possible to put a 3. But 4 is not possible because I have this necessary red point to get a Catalan alternative tableau. So instead of taking these technical things, let's define the reverse bijection between pair of paths and Catalan alternative tableau. So here is a pair of two paths. The yellow, which is below the border of the Ferré diagram. So I just put the blue number as the distance between the vertical edges of this yellow path and the vertical edges of the Ferré diagram. So 1, 1, 2, and 0. So 1, now I have to put my blue point. Here 1 means there is one blue point. So necessarily I have to put it here. Because if I was putting it here, then the number would be 2. So I put my blue point here. And because I am in a Catalan alternative tableau, so this cell must not be empty. So I necessarily put a red point, which is crossing, all this line is crossing below in the column. Now I have to put a 1 here. So 1, I have put a blue point, and my row is totally filled. Now I have to put a 2. So what are the free cells? I have this one, and this one. Which means that I have to put a blue point, such as that the parameter should be 2, so I must put my blue point here. Because 1 plus 1 equals 2. If I put it the blue point here, this would be 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3. So I put my blue point here, necessarily. So there is an empty cell here, and automatically I must put a red point. Now this one is 0, means I don't put any blue point. When it's 0, the two paths are touching. But I have to fill up this cell, so I have to put 2 red points. This is a reverse bijection. So you see from a pair of paths, the yellow path included in the Ferré diagram, I can completely reconstruct the Catalan alternative tableau. Because of the definition of this blue number, and because of the fact it's Catalan alternative tableau, there is no yellow cell, there is no Q equals 0, there is no cell, empty cell in the construction. And the beauty of all this bijection is that every bijection I show before, I get a commutative diagram. Everybody commute, so it's not obvious. So here is the example. You see, here is my Catalan alternative tableau. Here is the first bijection giving a binary tree. This is the other bijection giving this with a pair of paths, and from the binary tree, if you do the sliding algorithm to get a pair of paths, everything commute. It's all the previous bijection. In this diagram, everybody commutes, so it's a kind of canonical bijection. So this is why maybe there is 4 or 5 different ways. I can define this bijection in different ways. Always it gives the same bijection. So I call this some canonical canonical bijection, because some bijection, sometimes you force 2 objects to be in bijection because you really want to certain parameter is going to become this parameter. So something is forcing bijection, but it will be used only once, only for your specific problem. Here, this bijection, because they commute, because they can be defined in very different way, maybe you can use several times for different type of problem. So this becomes to be interesting bijection. So this is the philosophy of this class, is bijective course. Why to do a bijective course? There is some bijection. It's not going to be a list of all bijection, because there is a jungle of identity, a jungle of bijection, jungle of interpretation. And I try, all my life I have been attracted by bijection, so I try to select what are the important bijection. So for me, important means they are used many times in different totally different problem, and they can be defined in different way. You always found the same bijection, and also they are connected to some algebraic structure. So RSK is a typical example of this canonical bijection. Anything you do, you will find this bijection is really kind of canonical. So in this PASEP, this bijection also becomes a kind of canonical because they can be defined in very different way, and they are related to the quadratic algebra. There is some general techniques analog to RSK which relate in the same way. So this more or less this philosophy of canonical bijection. Yes, question.
So, what happens if you find these numbers for an alternative tableau and try drawing a path? Is it possible to get a pair of paths and plus something more?
What is possible is to get a kind of trees. But trees can be the bijection which can be extended to trees to get permutation. Pair of paths, no, it's. But trees, it's possible to extend. So else you have increasing tree or you have alternating tree. You have a. So in the complement of this chapter, I will show you that the algorithm, the exchange fusion algorithm, can be completely described with trees, which are, so there is some Nadeau trees, alternative trees. When in the lecture I gave about Tamari lattice extension, there was this, there was some trees also. So all this, I will show it possible at the level of permutation to do everything with trees. But pair of paths, I have to think a little more, few minutes. If you, next time, I don't see immediately an extension because you should put some label on the, but with trees it's possible. It's and all the bijection I show you by sliding, jeu de taquin, everything, all this can be done with increasing tree, with trees counted by n factorial. And this is related to the Loderenko Hopf algebra. Loderenko work on the Hopf algebra of binary tree. This Hopf algebra is a quotient of the Hopf algebra working on permutation. This is the Malvenuto-Rothenauer Hopf algebra. So there is some kind of structure, algebraic structure, and at the commutator level, everything fits also. The Catalan level fit with the n factorial level, and all these three, I will show you at the other part of this chapter, that there is trees counted by n factorial, and the bijection work very well. exchange fusion algorithm. You can exchange the tree, everything. It's again another way to see the bijection, and it's miraculous that it's the same. If you go back to permutation, exactly the same as the bijection I gave before. So what we have done is a special case of what I call the Adela bijection. In the case of permutation, an alternative tableau. So if you remember, there was a technique of demultiplication of equation to try to find a reciprocal of the Q tableau. You have an algebra, the quadratic algebra, and you put some colors to reduce the label from complete Q tableau to a Q tableau. So putting some color, 3 colors, get the alternative tableau. But reciprocal, we want to read the system in a reverse way. So we put some color on this. There is 6 terms on the right side of this equation. And it's possible to put only 2 colors. This is a tree-like tableau. The condition is that if you have 2 terms appearing here, they must have different label, different colors. So if you put different color to this, then you get the tree-like tableau, only 2 colors. But to do the analog of RSK, instead of putting different colors, so I would like that these 2 terms in the right-hand side, only 1 term appear. That each term appears only once. So instead of putting different color to this, let's put an index, and then I have to say, okay, x1 multiplied by e must be equal to ex, but I have to put a second index. So this is what I call demultiplication of equation. So your system of equation become infinite system, and each right-hand side of this system appear only once. And so you get a bijection. In fact, analog to RSK, you get a bijection from, for example, from this alternative tableau. You do this demultiplication of equation, and your alternative tableau is going to be in bijection with what you read in the border. What you read the border, so it's exactly the same as RSK. What you read is 2 maximal chain, or 2 P and Q, the P and Q symbol in RSK. So I get again the P and Q symbol here, which is this 2 vector. You look exactly the index of this y and the x in the demultiplication of equation process. And these 2 index are exactly, I call this P and Q for fun, to make a pair PQ associated to the alternative tableau, like Robinson just said. So I get 2 vectors, P and Q, and these 2 vectors are exactly what I have defined. In the case of Catalan alternative tableau, I have defined only the blue vector, which was the coding of the tableau. But if I go the level of permutation, I go the level of this tableau, then I need the 2 vectors, the blue and the red. I need the pair PQ. And I claim that my pair PQ, which is by the philosophy of demultiplication of equation, the pair PQ is exactly in bijection with the general alternative tableau. You just have to reverse. This is exactly the philosophy. Just to go back in the system of equation, and when you get this, so if you know exactly what's the label on the border, you can reconstruct completely the tableau. In the same way as the RSK, from knowing the P and Q symbol, the maximal chain, the border, you can completely reconstruct by the Fomin local rule or demultiplication equation or RSK. So we are exactly in the same situation. I have a pair PQ, and you see you can define, so P and Q, it's exactly the same definition. If you go back, forget the demultiplication of equation. So the vector P in blue is a number in each row. You take 0 if there is no blue number. You put blue number plus number of edges like this. The same from the red number. So you get 0 here. There is no red number. You get a 3 because there is a red number plus this cell plus this one. So this doesn't count. Here I get a 0, and here I get a 2. So I claim that I have a bijection between alternative tableau and pair PQ. So it's an analog of RSK, an open research problem for students who like to do. So I know that this is permutation. I know that I have a bijection between alternative tableau and factorial and permutation. So open problem, try to find, to first give a characterization of P and Q. What kind of pair of PQ? I get 2 vector P and Q, give a characterization of the pair PQ, and give direct bijection between PQ and factorial and permutation. Is it possible to have a better than to go through the bijection with alternative tableau and give a characterization? So for this research problem, it's a new bijection, pair PQ. I call this the Adela bijection because I was thinking of this in the house of my friend Adela in Isla Negra in Chile. By the way, in the previous lecture, I said that Isla Negra was in the Maule region. No, not at all. Maule is much south, it's in Talca. I do my research in Talca in the Maule area, and also in Santiago, and also in Isla Negra, in the village, very beautiful village of Pablo Neruda, the famous writer who gets the Nobel Prize, the famous Chilean. He was also ambassador in France, in Paris, at the time of Pompidou. Yes, it was a very nice and dramatic event happened when there was a coup d'etat. So let's forget this dramatic event and go now to the Catalan case. So I claim that when you have a Catalan alternative tableau, then you don't need the pair PQ. You need only P. If you know P, then you know Q. You can go back to the complete. We have seen that knowing only P, you can get back the alternative tableau. And knowing the alternative tableau, then I get a vector Q. So this is P, you see. This is Q. So I call this, there is a kind of duality between P and Q. In the Catalan case, I call this, again, Adela duality, changing P and Q. And what is this duality? It's, if you follow the lecture on Tamari-Latit, this was a duality. There was some duality with a paper with Préville, Louis-François Préville-Rattel. So this duality, if you want to compute it, so you have this vector P, give you a Catalan alternative tableau, which gives you a binary tree by the bijection, with the blue edges, the blue number, etc. Now, this binary tree, if you take a mirror image, which means changing the left edges to right edges, so if I take the right edges, I can get exactly the same construction, taking the right edges in symmetric order, taking the left height instead of the right height, etc. So you just make a mirror image, and having this construction, you get your red number, so you get another path, you see. So this is a kind of duality. This path here becomes this path here. But you have to go through a binary tree. So the open problem to find a bijection between the pair PQ and the permutation, in the case of Catalan permutation contained by Catalan number, then you need only one of the two, the P and the Q, there's a duality. So maybe make some idea to get this problem. And I will finish with TASEP with Catalan tableau. So we go back to the original paper, the first paper, the very pioneer paper in '82, because commentaries were interested in all these problems since 12 or 15 years. And everybody forget this paper, but this paper was very remarkable. It was, they compute directly, by recurrence, they show that this probability, stationary probability for the TASEP was given by this combinatorial interpretation. So I remind you that in the case of the TASEP for alpha beta equal 1, then they associate to this state a certain path. And Shapiro-Zellberger shows that the stationary probability, by direct recurrence, direct proof, they have to invent this pair of paths, and I don't know how they invent that this was going to give the stationary probability. And they show the stationary probability is exactly the number of paths in blue, which are below the green path. So it's what we have done before with the stationary probability for the alternative tableau. In the case alpha beta equal 1, then you can get back immediately this proposition. Because of the bijection, alternative tableau are in bijection with pair of paths, and the state here of the TASEP is exactly the border of is one of the two paths. So you get immediately from what previous bijection, this proposition. But now there is more, because there is parameter alpha and beta. So you have to put the parameter alpha beta on the pair of paths. So sorry for this transparency, this old transparency. So the parameter can be read on the pair of paths. It's one of the, there is two parameters for alpha and beta. So one of the parameters is the number of times the two paths touch each other. And the second parameter is the number of paths in the pair of paths, the number of vertical, the rightmost vertical edges in this path. So it's not symmetric, you see. We lose the symmetry. You know, with binary tree, we have a complete symmetry left and right. In pair of paths, you lose the symmetry, but you have an explicit formula. And this was given by Olia Mandelstam in 2015. She gave an explicit formula, which is a little terrible formula, that the probability with alpha beta is given by a certain determinant indexed by alpha and beta. So you see, it's these two parameters here. You can have explicit expression for the distribution, analog of Shapiro-Zellweger result, but with the alpha and beta. She gave a beautiful determinant. It's not symmetric in alpha and beta. And from where comes this determinant? If you have alpha equal beta equal 1, then this is a well-known Crivera-Snariana determinant. In fact, it's go to McMahon, the number of Ferrer diagram included in another Ferrer diagram, number of pair of two paths, is given by this determinant. It's where there is a lambda I, there is a certain indices. So the pair of paths give you exactly this determinant, and this comes from the LGV lemma. But LGV lemma cannot be applied here. Directly. If you read this determinant, it's a k by k determinant. Here I have only two paths which touch each other. So how to apply the LGV lemma? You have to think of this. Here you have two family of paths. See, there is all around this, there is a family of non-crossing paths. And then all around this, there is another family of non-crossing paths. So they are kind of orthogonal family of non-crossing paths. And we can define a duality of paths. Duality of paths means in one of this very tight configuration, you make a hole. The hole is going to propagate in the dual configuration, and the propagation of the hole is going to give you an idea of a dual path. It's difficult to explain. There is a kind of duality of paths, and in the case of Crivera's determinant, my pair of blue paths is in bijection with a dual configuration which are the green paths. So there is a construction. You see, so the green path is east or northeast. For each corner of the red path, I put a northeast step, like this. And I claim there is a bijection between the pair of paths, blue and red, and this dual, what is called the dual configuration. And the dual configuration is exactly interpreted by the Crivera determinant. And so Olia Mandelstam, she gave a paper in GCTA, putting the alpha and beta in this bijection, dual path, and putting the determinant, giving explicit expression for the stationary probability. Okay, I think we can finish here. Thank you very much.